in week 6. We've seen some Division 1 divisions sort of get a bit wrapped up in the south and the north, because the Midlands does count as the north. The Prem is Premming, but we're going to move on to week 7, where it seems we're going to have a lot of Division 2 games, and as we've mentioned in the title, a couple of derby games plus the battle for the best team in Wales that will be on our shores this week. As you can see, no Dylan, no SJ, because they're both busy. Dylan actually has to do uni work, disgusting. SJ has to do actual work, disgusting. But then you've got me, who's dedicated, Jamie, who lives in Qatar, and obviously Worrell joining us as a special guest. But I'm not going to interview him. Can't be not about that. Don't. How's your season going?
Yeah, terrible. No, it's all right.
There we go. Sorted. That is the interview over. Worrell can go now. So quickly, we're just going to run down the results, pick out some of the notable scores from this week, move on to next week. So starting off in the Prem, no restream. I don't want help right now while I'm doing this. Interrupting me. Awful. So in the Premiership, Newcastle Raiders fall to 0-4, losing to Durham Saints 46-6. SGS beat Birmingham Lions in a shutout. I would say Birmingham Lions had a very, very fun day out at the hands of another Bristol team, losing 54-0. UE do UE things against Portsmouth 62-0. Destroyers fall to 1-3. Moving on to Div 1, Edinburgh Napier Knights make me look like a right idiot because I was the only one that picked Aberdeen as they beat the Bulls 21-0. Heriot Watt in what is a very, very close game. Glenn, almost called an upset as Heriot Watt lose 13-12 over Glasgow Uni Tigers, who are currently leading the division. In a shock, sorry, it is a shock, Jamie. Hull Sharks managed to get another win this season, beating MMU 3-0 in a lovely soccer score.
I don't know how you can say it's a shock when everyone predicted it.
Oh, yeah, but it's Hull. Oh, we'll get into it. Let's just go. Oh, God, here comes the Sharks.
Too harsh on Hull there, I reckon.
All right, well, we can... Let me finish doing the scores. We'll go from there. Leeds Griffins 42, Liverpool 2. Not great. In the game that I was at, live streamed, very good game. Warwick moved to 2-2. NTU is still undefeated at 4-0. And it could be time to play the world's smallest violin for the Coventry Uni Jets as they fall to the Leicester Longhorns 26-0. Southampton lose to Bath 30-12. In the other Sport Tank livestream game, Bournemouth beat Bristol 16-0. And I'd say this is a bit of a shock because everyone picked up Hertfordshire to win the South-East. Oxford beat Hertfordshire 26-12. Oxford are 3-0-1, and Hearts, they're not doing so well. Very surprising. Brunel shut out the Reading Knights. The Southern one is broken. It's fucking broken. We'll get into it. Unfortunately for me, because I was on the Kent bandwagon, they fall to the UEA Pirates 30-12. KCL, I was the only one that picked KCL. Let's get that in. Beat Essex 54-6. Moving on to Division 2. DMU fall to 0-2, losing to the Siege 21-12. Derby have a really fun day out with the Pythons, 66-0 to the Braves. Aberystwyth with another fun day out. Aberystwyth putting on high scores, 56-12 over Bath Spa. City beat Canterbury 40-8. Kingston fall to Imperial 20-8. Bangor Mud Dogs. We'll get into Bangor. Walk over their game for the Kiel Crusaders. Kiel are now 1-1, and Northumbria shut out Bradford 42-0. All right then, yeah, go on.
Well, there's not a lot for me to say. I just don't know how you can say it's a shock when everyone predicted it. I don't understand that. Like you're making it out as it was.
Do you want to know why? It's because I thought Hull would be on the same level as Coventry. Definitely going down, but it's not turning out that way. In fact, after looking at the old record books, I'm sorry about this, Warren, but it seems that LJMU might be in getting into a little bit of squeaky bum time. I don't think it's as dire. the panic button hasn't been pressed, but I feel like there's got to be a little bit of squeaky bum time going on at Liverpool, John Moores.
I think we had to beat MMU, otherwise it would be a bit panic stations. But I don't know. I like to think that momentum's with us now, but I guess might be speaking too soon there ahead of Sunday. So see what happens.
It's just very difficult because obviously the two teams are going down this year.
Mm-hmm.
So you really want to try and escape that bracket, and obviously Hull with the 2-point penalty from the Tyrants walkover, could very well come back to bite them. I'm sure Jamie's going to love this. I'm sure the Tyrants will as well. But it's going to be a battle between all three of those teams as it stands. Especially when LJMU very much favoured going into the season to do big things. Don't get me wrong; it's not quite on the scale of the Essex Blades, but it's. I imagine
I think there's 4 teams battling it out for them 2 spots in there. I think, and when we say the 2 spots to not get relegated, Hull are obviously in a bit of a shit situation with the point deduction. But I would say, other than Leeds and I think Leeds and Tyrants are fine. I think that they're already, but the rest of them, anything could happen.
I agree with that.
Liverpool, Hull not having MMU and Liverpool and Raptors to play again could be a bit problematic. But
yes,
I think if they get 2 more wins, if they beat Tyrants once and LJMU, I think that they might be there or thereabouts.
Again, Hull being 2-1, it's definitely not something that I saw coming. Genuinely, it's not. Especially beating Liverpool. I think more than anything, and I'm sorry about this, lads, but I'm sort of trying to will Liverpool to stay up just because they were, knocking on the door for so long. It'd be nice for them to have a bit more tenure. But it very much is. The bottom of Northern 1 is getting a bit spicy now. As with the double demotion on the cards, it's very, very difficult to sort of prophesize now. But early freezing cold takes is basically what the rundown is built on. So it's got to be done. It's absolutely got to be done. But no, Restream, go away. I appreciate your product, but don't need it now when I'm on the live. But it's very, 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 very difficult. I mean, the double relegation. I'm hoping that won't be a consistent thing, but obviously with the Scottish one, it makes things a bit questionable. I do hope that gets worked out, relatively soon, because I do think it's a bit unfair that they get doubled and no one else does, especially when you've got teams. It is a bit of a nightmare, especially when there are teams in the Northern Triumvirate who do deserve to go down, and Coventry Jets have finally. They seem to be on their way down. The ticket has been booked. They are ready for their lovely holiday destination to jet away to Division 2 because they lost to Liverpool. Oh, sorry, they lost to Leicester. And that's been Coventry's sort of saving grace over the last 2 seasons. That they've managed to beat the person who's come up twice, keep their spot. They've not managed to do that this year. How much did Kent score? Did Kent lose? I think Kent still lost. But even still, I'm a bit annoyed that Kent lost. Anyway, we'll get into that. Coventry seems to be their time. I was having a discussion. Obviously, I was at a Midlands 1 game, having this discussion with a few people. Think it's for the best that Coventry go down, sort of have that time to rebuild. And, look at Bath. Look at potentially Swansea this year. It's not that bad of a fate to go down to Division 2, but the problem is if you stay there.
It's not a nice division to drop into either, is it? It's not.
No. Midlands 1 is very, very... Yeah, to be fair, I do agree with that. Midlands 1 is definitely one that is going to be difficult to fight out of if you get dropped back into it. But, I think Coventry's got a good enough legacy that they could do it. People... It's going to be the same way as... I remember speaking to Steve, and he was like, I can't believe that Derby are a Div 2 side, because he thinks of them as this Premiership side, or this, quite high up Div 1 side that was there for a while, and now being Div 2, But it seems like, only yesterday that it was my second year we played Coventry. But then they had a meteoric rise and then stuttering, trying to make plain metaphors. But it's not worth them. I think it is for the best. Obviously, they managed to do it a couple of years ago where they managed to get a shock win against Warwick. I don't think that will happen this year. I think their only saving grace is going to be that rematch with Leicester, and Coventry are going to have to, beat them by more than a differential of 26. That's the only saving grace I think of the Jets.
How many go down in that division?
One.
So this is what doesn't make sense to me. Surely, and this is going back to the old playoff for relegation battle. Surely you could do it. The bottom one from each does, and then the second bottom from each play each other, and the loser goes down. If there's only 3 between the 2 divisions, why not?
Don't get me wrong. No, again, I'm not a BUCS, but I think that's a good idea. If there's 2 divisions that are going to be relegated, you might as well have them play that game to find out who gets relegated, because it will probably end up being Leicester versus, probably Hull. It's the journey's not the journey.
Exciting game to play in as well. You know what I mean? Like they're sort of games you want to be playing in, really.
Yeah, because personally, I don't find it, particularly, fair, especially when you've got teams in the north, such as Staffordshire, who were in the Midlands too, before going up to Div 1, and then they've fallen back down into the north. Like it's not too much of an issue. And especially with Sheffield Hallam now being categorised as Midlands 1 after being in the North for so many years.
It wouldn't be hard for them, even if next year one of the teams that they didn't really want to go down because of location, it wouldn't be hard to relocate and change the divisions every year.
Yeah,
it doesn't make a difference.
Yeah.
It doesn't change anything to just move and float teams around.
If you remember, Jamie, there was nearly 3 going down in our league. I couldn't believe that. It's
mental.
Here's the thing, it's the first year of the Scottish Div 1, or the Scottish division in itself. No, Frankie. Next year. Because it's the first league of the Scottish one, it's going to be very, very difficult. They've got to iron out these problems. They've just got to see how it lies, first of all. But again, it's the lasting effects of if a team goes down to Div 1 and unfortunately stays there, the impact of the Scottish one could have quite large ramifications. But then my issue with it is I still think, and I'm sure that there's a university specifically in the west of Scotland that doesn't like my fucking takes about this. I feel like it's a bit of a joke when you've got UWS who get instant promotion based on absolutely fuck all, and then you've got 2 teams from the north, which the bottom of the northern one is very competitive, but at the end of the day, UWS, unless they fold, they're still going to be a Div 1 side based on absolutely fuck all. That's what I think. I understand what they're going for, but it's a little bit of piss take. But I know that they are just working it out.
And we have all these conversations, but as soon as if this elite league comes in, it'll all shift it anyway, and they'll.
Oh, 100%.
Especially because you look at the teams that are surrounding Hull. If you consider that Tyrants and Leeds are safe, then you look at the other 4. You'd argue that the 2 that go down out of us, Raptors, Hull, and Man Met probably don't deserve to go down. But then, to be fair, I felt that about Sheffield Sabres last year. But I think this Division 1 North League that we're all in is just so competitive. So it is harsh on whoever goes down. But the fact that there was nearly 3 of those teams going down is insane. Literally insane. Like
that. If it was 3 teams going down, then that would be uproar. Because how many teams are in your div? 6, or is it
6?
Half 6, the div gets relegated. Come on. It's a bit mad that 2 of the teams get relegated, but half the div gets relegated. Is madness. It seems to be that the northern and the southern divisions, the ones that are named Northern Southern, are complete madness, because the southern one is absolutely mental. I haven't got a clue. Have not got a clue, because Oxford pulled a draw from Royal Holloway. Obviously, was at that game. Seemed difficult. Doesn't seem like the most disciplined team, but they managed to beat Hertfordshire, who were the consensus favourites sort of going into it. But they've now lost to Reading, which was a surprise, and they've lost to Oxford. I'd argue, sorry, Oxford and Reading, that you were probably, if you were looking at the teams in the Southern one before the season started, probably the weakest two teams just on the paper test, right? Hertfordshire have managed to lose to those. Reading obviously beat Hertfordshire, but then Reading gets shot out by Brunel. Doesn't make sense. The only thing that seems to be the constant here, and I'm sorry, JM, but it seems to be that Royal Holloway is very much in that position to go down. But there's currently no leader in the Southern one, or if there is, it's by very, very slim margins, very, very slim. You've got like a definite bottom, but you haven't got any substantial winner currently in there. It doesn't matter because the playoffs don't happen yet, but we can just talk about it there. But I don't have a clue, not a clue. Let me see what the games are. So you've got no. So Reading versus Hertfordshire again will be the game for this week, where, you know, I think if Reading have got to bounce back, if Reading are able to bounce back and beat Hertfordshire again, I think Hertfordshire's sort of champion or divisional championship aspirations are in the bin, you know. But it's got to be, were Royal Holloway the better team when they drove to Oxford? I'd say technically yes. I'd say technically speaking, Royal Holloway were the better team in playing football, but Oxford were just able to have those splash plays and be. It's sort of the old adage of Oxford didn't seem like they had that much of a plan, but because they didn't have a plan, Royal Holloway couldn't adapt to what they thought the plan was. You know, like number 9 for Oxford was insane. I think it's Chester's, their QB, scrambled all around. You know, absolutely saved the game for them. The O-line was good, but they had players playing both ways. And with Chester's there, he managed to sort of pull it together, but it definitely seemed as though that Holloway were technically the better team, and I don't even mind saying that, but it is very, very difficult. Is it true that I hate Hertfordshire? Well, speaking of hating Hertfordshire,
what have I got to do with it? I don't hate Hertfordshire.
Do you not?
The only team I hate is Essex for costing me the perfect.
Yes.
The one team.
Oh yeah. So let's get into this. So we were sort of talking last week.
No, you didn't have a perfect weekend. You can't pull up Banger and then go, oh yeah, no. Bollocks.
No. But here's the thing: even if I don't count Banger, he's still one off a perfect week. You fucking cretin.
No, it's an injustice.
He gets an extra win. So we were talking about last week, like who would be the first person to get a perfect week in the predictions, and SJ was one off, and that was Essex losing to KCL. So once again, Essex Blades has fucked around SJ, and that the old enemy of the Essex Blades.
When do we talk about relegation for Essex?
Right now, let's fucking talk about it right now. They're getting fucking relegated. They're doing the full shuffle. They're going to win the divs last year. Bang, straight down. You know, as far as I'm concerned, KCL, because they were new, and I've said this to KCL, and KCL don't like me because of it. I said that their division wasn't very strong last year, so I think they're going to struggle in Div 1. When you get beaten by that large of a margin by KCL, you're being relegated. You lose 54-6 to KCL, you're getting relegated.
That's a fun day out. That is a fun day out.
They got fun day out. They got fun day outed by KCL. And again, I like KCL, but I thought they were at risk of going down. QMBL are going to be fucking mid, like normal. You know, I think that's fair. UEA beating Kent. I think the return fixture of that is going to be very, very interesting.
Was it 30-23? I'm not sure because I don't know if people's told
I think it was, because someone's telling me that the score's wrong, that I've got the wrong score. So I know there was an issue with that. But at the end of the day, Kent lost, which I'm not very happy about. But yeah, I think Essex are going down. I don't think QMBL's really going to be facing relegation. I don't think 23-30. Thank you, Gary. Yeah, I think it's time to discuss that. You've just missed. We've already spoken about Cov Jets and how their tenure is, you know, world's smallest piano for Coventry Jets. But I think the same's going to be going the way of the Essex Blade.
Well, we said this time last year, and it's only been 3 games.
We said this, but I don't. I'll say it right now. I'll look into the camera. Essex relegated. Bristol relegated. Who else? Coventry relegated. Northern one. Oh,
Newcastle.
Royal Holloway. Royal Holloway.
Holloway.
Royal Holloway relegated.
Newcastle relegated.
No, yeah, Newcastle relegated. To be fair, Southern Prem, not a clue. Northern one, not a clue. I think that's fair. There you go. Have that. All the Uniball teams get fucking bulletin board materials. You fucks.
Have you discussed the Kent UEA game? Because
We can do it now.
A proper game. That
It's a shame because like I wanted to go and stream that one, but you know, driving 3.5 hours. I'm not gonna. I was in Norwich. Oh gosh, that's even worse. I think it's on the other side of the country. To me, you know, I'm very much on the Kent Falcons train. I still think that they're going to be in the playoffs. I do still think that. But that return fixture, 23 to 12, it's close, and it wouldn't surprise me if I drove there 3 hours to be there from Norwich. Okay, Gary. See, Gary's just more dedicated than me. That's the problem. I still streamed a very good game.
Plot twist: Gary's a ref.
Yeah.
Is he? Oh, the worst was on the stream? On the stream, it was I was taught someone brought up UEA versus Kent, and I was like, yeah, I think Kent's going to win that game. And he's like, yeah, I'm going to that game as a UEA coach, and I'm like, fuck, my baby plays UEA. Yeah, I think Kent will do well. I think that return fixture is going to be something very interesting. I might, if I can will myself to go there, I may stream that game. I will say the ones for this week.
Explain to me what these comments are.
I haven't got a clue.
Does that feel alright from our game?
So I will say the games are streaming this week. Steve and his Steve and Mike and potentially Kwame, they will be following Bournemouth. They will be taking on Bristol. No, Southampton. They did Bristol this week, so they'll be taking on Southampton this week, and I will be in Cardiff for a Premiership South fixture between the Cobras and the Lions. Implosion 2. I've been told that I need to market it as Implosion 2, right? So, having a look around last week. NTU versus Warwick, obviously a lot closer than the game last week. NTU just the game was very even keel going into the half, 7-7, but coming out of the half, NTU brought on their number 30 and he just wrecked it. Absolutely wrecked it. And Warwick had some chances, but it just couldn't be done. I think Warwick are going to push through. I think they're going to make the playoffs. But again, very much what everyone sort of expected with NTU being in line to take the Midlands 1 crown. But obviously, can you count out Sheffield Hallam after a 28-0 loss to Warwick? Difficult. And I don't know if anyone's got anything else to say about
I think NTU have won that now.
Which game?
So do I. No, the division. Oh, you shut out bloody Reading. Good. I'm sick of that. I'm sick of Reading getting all up in my face.
The first thing I did straight after the game, literally as handshakes finished, was chat shit to Rob Smith.
Yeah, get done, Rob Smith. Mate, honestly, the one he did before the game, Bruno in the mud.
That pitch is, I'm sure Reading won't mind me saying this, but that pitch is awful. I'm sure they'll agree.
It's fucking wank, isn't it? Yeah.
But they're a quality team, just in terms of how they are as a team. We were saying in the chat today, they're probably the nicest guys we've played.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that pitch is a bigger. But I don't think you'll ever see a team on that pitch put big numbers up on a team, just because it's impossible to get through. It was a close game until the fourth quarter, and then we just finally pulled ahead. But yeah, 2 weeks break, and then it's Hertfordshire at home. So
at home, but interesting.
Yeah.
No, great dream. I'm doing stuff. Leave me alone. I do want to sort of quickly touch on one of the Scottish leagues. Heriot Watt 12, Glasgow 13. I think that's a very, very interesting score. Obviously, Heriot Watt, their scores haven't sort of been that close over their last few weeks, but I still do think that that's a great score on Heriot Watt. I think momentum's very much on their side. Obviously, it's going to go down in the loss column for them, but as morally, I think that's a win for Heriot Watt.
Am I imagining this, or did I hear that it came from a Glasgow Hail Mary as well?
I believe that's true.
Yeah,
I wish we had a man who could tell us, but he's doing uni work. The worst part is that you know that he's watching the show. You know he's watching the show while doing uni work. So he's not doing
100%.
any uni work, so he could just be on the show. Do you know what I mean?
The Kingston pitch. We'll just talk about Kingston pitch. Have you ever played on that pitch?
Go on. I haven't, mate, no.
It is on a slant. Like, it goes downhill.
Oh, do not get me fucking started. Bath Bar have one of the worst pitches in the league. It's like this. And there's loads of sheep everywhere. Have I played? I have played international cockle balls, mate. Yeah, international cockle balls. International. Is it cock or is it? It's awful. Like it's on here. I remember. I played them last year, and our running back fumbled the ball, and he had to chase it downhill. And it's difficult if you're a quarterback because you have got to throw uphill. And as a centre, I'm a morbidly obese man. I'm not going. I'm running uphill. Are you joking? I'm not pulling. Leave that out. I'm not doing stuff like that. I played Div 2. I'm not tearing my ACLs on that. Even if Mike agrees with me, then you know that it's bad. But sort of going on Kingston losing to Imperials. Imperial sort of trending upwards in the southeast too. I think they're gonna take that. Even still, this is like the very early prediction bollocks part of the show. I think Aberystwyth putting up another 50 burger. Don't get me wrong, Worcester and Bath Spa aren't the toughest opponents in the entire world. I'm not apologising for that, but I think Aberystwyth have got something a bit special here. So going on to their Battle of Wales between Swansea and Aberystwyth. I think it's going to be an interesting game. Do think Swansea is going to edge it. So, yeah, in terms of Div 2, not too much. Quickly before we move on to Week 7, disappointed in you, Banger. Absolutely. You had faith. You had
What
faith.
happened with the Banger thing?
They just claim that they've got too many injuries and not enough players. So it's like, grow up. We talked big time last week about how we felt like they might have accidentally, and it wasn't an accusation, but they might have accidentally on purpose forfeited the UCLan game to prepare for this week. And then
they haven't forfeited the UCLan game. Yeah, they postponed it.
Yeah, they're not playing that game.
No, they're not. Absolute nonsense.
I've changed my tune. It genuinely breaks my heart a little bit. Like genuinely.
Nah.
I was fully invested in the Mud Dogs train, and now I think that UWS beat them in a game. I genuinely think UWS beat them now.
Yeah, that's because you created a narrative in your own head of Banger because you wanted to rename them the Mud Dogs. That's your problem. And now UWS are going to take that, Super Bowl trophy that we're going to create for them if they ever play, made out of cardboard and piss. But anyone fancy coming to ABBA to ref a game? ABBA haven't started yet.
Fuck
Surprise.
Off. Slightly. No.
Again, I said to him, I would love to be able to stream that game, but if you think I'm driving to Aberystwyth, you can fuck off. There's no way, none, 0% chance.
I can ref it, but I ain't got the qualification. But I'll give it a go. Can't be any worse than the Oxford game. But
there's a man and his dog. Can we ask Hertfordshire if there was a man and his dog at that game?
There's a man and two dogs at the Reading game as well, but he also had his partner with him, so I wasn't quite
Swansea-
afraid.
By
Swansea
partner, do you
should
mean
be-
like his missus, or do you mean like his partner in crime and they had like two lizards on the other side?
Wait, hold on. I thought the Swansea Aberystwyth game was in Aberystwyth. I think I read the social media post. I think it's in Aber. No, it's not. I don't fucking know. I thought it was. Crazy. It's supposed to be a Swansea home game. All right. No one knows what. Yeah. Okay. If it's a Swansea home game, then it's an Aberystwyth problem. Sorry, a Swansea problem, not an Aberystwyth problem. So just going to move on to week 7, unless anyone's got anything else to talk about from week 6. I feel like
just Northumbria are legit. Like obviously we've said it a couple of times.
oh,
Northumbria are really legit.
Hold on a second. Oh, Sam's here. We're hosting it for them because they don't have a pitch. Lincoln problems,
Glasgow problems.
Banger problems, You know, why is this a thing? Why is their team without pitches? Right.
Bangor use
Can't
our
be
pitch
that
in
hard.
Liverpool, and they have to travel like 2.5 hours to their own games. It's crazy.
No wonder Banger don't fucking play.
It can't be that hard to find a pitch. Like you don't, by the rules of the sport, you don't even need to have posts. Like it can't be that hard to find a field and someone like where they'll let you just paint it.
I tell you, that's it, Sam. I would stream that game if it was in Swansea. I'm not coming to Aberystwyth again. I've had enough journeys because I will write myself off the side of a Welsh mountain. I'm just saying, just complete on accident. I'll try and Jeremy Clarkson it around the corner. Brilliant. Wow, what a good comment. Anyone got anything else from week 6 they want to talk about? Because I think that everything's sort of wrapped up.
Nah, I'm good with that week. Have we done the BAFA report?
There isn't one.
There isn't one yet.
Shocking.
We might. Well, I might check now quickly.
I'll have a look.
I thought I liked the drive. No, because number one, Gloucestershire didn't provide us with a toilet for that particular coach. That was, almost 4 hours, and also the bus driver. There wasn't any defogging like stuff on the bus, so he had to keep pulling the bus over and wiping the window down. Right.
Yeah, there's still no BAFA report.
Was I happy about it? No, I wasn't. No, Jamie's right. No BAFA report. Lame. Was there any fun ones last week before we move on?
No, we looked. There wasn't anything either, apart from someone headbutting someone for an extra point.
Well, buy you a pint if you... No, I'm not coming. I'll be in Wales, but I'm not going to be in Aberystwyth.
I know it got spicy in the whole game. SJ, you might like this one. It got spicy in the whole game because to win it, they picked it in the end zone after the most wild final 20 seconds of a 3-0 win. So Hull picked it to win it, and then this lad tried to suplex him on his head but couldn't lift him up. So then Bruce runs down the MMU sideline, like giving it big chirps to Connor and the rest of the MMU coaches, whilst it's all kicking off and everyone's trying to scrap this lad for trying to suplex him.
I can't make my mind up if I want Hull to stay up or not.
Oh, because if Hull stay up, it's the same cycle next year, and it'll just continue to go, and it's class.
Tom,
The thing is,
I made a joke about the TikTok to Connor, and he just sort of like looked me dead in the eyes at the MMU game. Said something about the TikTok, and he's looked. I don't think he appreciated it. So.
Oh yeah, Uniball memes, TikToks going hard. I didn't clock them until someone sent me them half an hour ago. It's just too much of my big fat head. I don't need it.
Apparently, Connor pulled an absolute stinker during the whole game. Apparently, they had like this slot receiver that was tearing him to bits, and then he just put him out wide. And they were like, "Well, let's just what?"
So.
I'm not going to comment because I wasn't okay. Simple as that. So we're going to move on to week 7, where it seems to be there's going to be a lot of Div 2 games this week. Probably the most we've seen from the season so far.
Buzzing.
Yeah, I know you guys are going to be happy about picking all of these games because there's a lot. There is a lot. Got a Northumbrian Mustang here ready to ready to take on Hull, just to have a go. You don't. Hull aren't gonna go. Hull aren't gonna stay up. They've got the -2 points. It's not happening for them. No rebuttal from Jamie.
I'm not even going to argue. I've said I don't
No.
think that it's. I think if they didn't have that -2, I think it would have been a different story after how the season started.
Yeah, I think that's completely fair. So where we've got now is definitely in the Northern one. It's sort of the talking point for week 7, as you've got double derby games in MMU taking on the Tyrants, and Warren will love this one. The LJMU Fury taking on the Liverpool Raptors. Personally, I wouldn't say the Manchester derby's too exciting. I do think the Tyrants are just going to take that. Whereas the Liverpool one, on the other hand, that's an exciting game because both teams have had good performances. Both teams have had not so good performances. Going to be difficult. I don't know who I'm going to pick yet. I will do in a few minutes when I've had time to think about it. But we're aware, and people in the know are aware that sometimes a bit of a frayed relationship between the two Liverpool sides. How is it going to stop from being chirpy? I'm not going to try and interview Warren here, but just what are your thoughts on it? Don't give me like a generic question, a generic answer, but just what are your thoughts on the game?
I mean, it's probably one of the biggest, if not the biggest, Uniball game I've played in. If not for where the two teams are at in terms of stuff that's happened in the past, you know what I mean? So there's a lot riding on the game. I think a lot of us are excited for it, definitely excited for it. These are the ones you look forward to, do you know what I mean? When they got promoted, this was the big one, do you know what I mean? So especially because we've got similar records now, and the fact two teams go down, it might actually have a big result on the table as well, do you know what I mean, come the end of the season. So there's a lot riding on the game. So just got to keep a lid on things and play our game, and I'm confident in the boys, to be honest.
See, that's a good answer. In
Master
terms
the
of
politician's answer, do you know what I mean?
Can I put a shout out there? And it's my unbelievable shout of the week. I don't think that match is finishing.
That's bold.
I think it's getting abandoned.
It can't be that bad, surely.
We're scrapping in a
You'd be surprised,
scrimmage.
but yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Well, I hope it does. I hope it does.
What, get abandoned?
No, hope it sees it through.
Oh, okay.
Do you know what I mean? But yeah, I don't know. I'm not too convinced on that myself, to be honest. So we'll just have to see how it goes.
So in the Prem, there's only really one matchup that is sort of tickling fancies, and that is thankfully the game that I will be at live streaming, and that is Cardiff versus Birmingham. That Prem South bubble between the three teams at the bottom that aren't in Bristol, basically. Yeah, I haven't got. It'd be nice to see Cardiff finally beat Birmingham, but then again, Birmingham lost to Portsmouth. Portsmouth beat Cardiff. Portsmouth beat Birmingham. Birmingham beat Cardiff, but Cardiff beat Portsmouth.
The most chaotic thing here would be for Cardiff to win.
Yes. Like it very much is on the precipice. There's some rumours, going around. People are like, what if Birmingham get relegated? What a surprise that would be to sort of the entire Prem. I know that Birmingham haven't been, pushing for the championship, but Birmingham very much still.
They've never been in the worst relegation of Birmingham.
No, not at all. Like, especially when people thought, it's looking a bit Portsmouthy, potentially Cardiff, but it's going to be a difficult one. But I think these teams know what they're fighting for here, and that is to stay up. And to say that comparatively to last year, Cardiff have had a good turnaround and good meme for Cardiff if they manage to stay up again, whether it be at the behest of the Lions or the Destroyers. It's going to be an interesting one. All the other ones, Newcastle, Loughborough, Leeds, Beckett, and Durham, Beckett, and SGS Portsmouth. I think Portsmouth are due for another fun day out. In the Scottish one, I think that Stirling versus Glasgow is the top of the table clash.
Is it going to get played?
Good question. We don't know because it's in Scotland. Be nice if it did, But obviously, after Glasgow's performance against Heriot last week, he'd probably be leaning a bit more on the side of Sterling. Well, I certainly would be. That'll come to when we do the picks later on. And then in the Midlands one, we get to see if Sheffield Hallam still have some juice left in them as they take on NTU. And, if NTU, I think
NTU will win that.
Yeah, I think NTU will win that, but, I think it's the last sort of speed bump on NTU's journey to the crown. It's very, very difficult, but cough jets, Reading versus Hertfordshire as well. Obviously, Reading beat Hertfordshire a few weeks ago, and that game is being rematched. Hertfordshire need to win that game if they want any chance of, I think, getting a divisional title there.
I think probably playoffs. Like that game is probably closer than you think.
Yes, I think so.
If Hertfordshire lose that, it's psychologically that's a tough battle to be in.
It's definitely a place where I imagine that Hertfordshire didn't think they would be in. Definitely something that we didn't think that would be in next to Hertfordshire, especially following on from losses to Oxford and Reading, which is the most surprising thing there. But yeah, going forward, Oh, sorry, we have got another derby game as well. We've got Napier versus the Mavericks, but I think that one's slightly less interesting, so I think the Mavericks will have that. So from that, unless anyone else got any other Week 7, actually no, I've not looked at any Div 2 games, and there's loads of bloody Div 2 games. Obviously, the battle for Wales is definitely sticking out in my mind there. Swansea versus Aberystwyth. Aberystwyth are 3-0. Swansea are 2-0. Aberystwyth, their biggest win so far. I know that they've put up some great points against Worcester and Bath Spa, but it's very, very, Bath Spa and Worcester, not great sides. I'd still say their biggest win is the defeat of Gloucestershire in their first game of the season, whilst Swansea beating Bath and Plymouth and shutting out Plymouth as well. I think that's sort of the big one here. So I think they're sort of going into this on a bit of an even keel. Very, very difficult game to call there. Everything else is okay. Actually, no. Nottingham Green versus Lincoln. I think that one will be another good one to sort of put into perspective the Midlands 2 crown. Obviously, it's sort of currently looking like it's going to be Nottingham, Lincoln, or Derby. Derby putting up good numbers, but then again, who they've played hasn't been the best. Are Bath Spa folding? Good question.
Derby to win that. I still expect Derby to go up in that division.
Again, it's not a particularly bad shout. Lincoln and Nottingham are the two that are fighting out, and this game is going to definitely have an impact later on in the season. Again, we'll get into who we think is going to win that game. Very, very difficult. Everything else, nothing sticking out too much. Bath Spa facing the Blitz this week.
Oh, Bath Spa folding? Probably not.
Don't know. I believe their game with Swansea was called in the third quarter, I believe. I know it was like 56 something mad. And then in the Southwest 2, you've got Worcester versus the Bullets 2s. As well. There you go. Nothing else really sticking out to me in Div 2. Apparently, we've got the rematch of Bangor versus UClan. I might as well not even fucking put that game on the predictions lineup because that game's not going to get played, is it?
What if it does and Bangor win?
Okay, pigs will fly and the sky will be green. What do you want me to say? Right.
Bangor win that. What a waste of scholarship money at UClan.
There you go. Aberystwyth versus Bath Spa was also called in Q3. Cool, thank you. So yeah, Bath Spa, don't think they've finished a game yet this season. But at least they're putting it out there, unlike some other teams.
Hang on a minute though. Does the game count as a walkover at that point? Because you're pretty certain you need to play 75% of the fixture for it to count.
It very well could be that it was called at the end of the
third.
At the end of the third.
Because in that way, it couldn't seem against you. You just decide, fuck it, that's it. I'm sick of Sharsh in the end zone. I'm calling it now.
Yeah.
Fuck's sake, I'm playing 10 minutes. I've had enough.
There you go, 10 minutes. It's 21-0. Call it. I've had enough.
But yeah, not much else in Div 2. You know, Bradford versus York St John. Yeah. Edgehill versus Staffordshire. Yeah. Surrey versus Solent could be good, but Solent have been on a bit more of a tear than Surrey. So we're going to do it nice and quickly. Hopefully, going to get into the predictions for this week. If you let me pick up my pad of paper. Oh, and I'll just do the percentages predictions now because they're great. Dylan is currently on 59% out of 64 out of 107. Jamie is 73 of 112, so he's on 65%. I'm on 79 out of 111, so I've got 71% because I'm fucking sick as fuck. And SJ's got 63 out of 104, and he's on 60%, even though that he had an almost perfect week this week. Here we go. Swansea versus Bath. They requested 5-minute quarters in the second half with a running clock. So technically they finished the game, but it was only 2 possessions. Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah. I remember it was something like that, but I didn't know the specifics of a 5-minute quarter. So we're going to get into it so we can go and have our dinner and whatnot. So starting off in the Prem, Durham versus Leeds.
Leeds.
Leeds, as long as they remember their IDs.
Durham, as we said in pre-season, Durham do look decent.
Durham do look decent, but I still don't think they're going to beat Beckett. What are you taking? Because you're on it this week.
Yeah, Leeds. I'll take Leeds.
Yeah, and then we're going to go Newcastle versus Loughborough. I don't know if you want to pick this one, SJ, but I would if I were you.
Loughborough. Give me my easy win prediction.
Yeah, so that's why I'm letting you have that.
I can't wait for them to lose and get clipped.
Yep. SGS versus Portsmouth.
Fun day
SGS.
out.
Yeah, nice and easy. In the game that I will be live streaming, the Implosion 2, Pooh, Cardiff Cobras versus the Birmingham Lions.
Bro, I'm being boring.
I'll have Cardiff. Spice it.
I'm going
Cardiff. Oh god, because I want to pick Cardiff as well. So Cardiff for the. Okay, if it gets played, hopefully if it gets played, Stirling versus Glasgow. Very spicy game.
Stirling.
Oh Lord. Did not expect that. Harriet Watt will be taking on Aberdeen.
Harriet Watt, go on. I'll back Dylan.
I won't. Aberdeen.
Aberdeen. Sorry, Dylan.
Really? No, I'm going to pick Harriet Watt for that.
I think they're slipping.
After last week's performance, I'd completely fucking disagree with that. I think they're not slipping. 12.
I think we'll get to Christmas and Dylan won't be on the show because he's just not going to come on until they win a game, and it's just not happening.
Okay, I'll choose Harriet Watt then. Go on, I'll go to Harriet Watt. You've convinced me, and I swear to God, if I get every pick right but this one, it's
awful. So in the first of the derby games, you've got MMU versus the Tyrants.
Tyrants,
unfortunately.
Rats.
Absolutely awful. In the second one, don't worry, Will, you don't have to pick this one. LJMU versus Liverpool Raptors. It's an interesting.
I was not saying anything. Come on, I'll go LGM.
No, let's hear it. Go on.
I will go for Liverpool.
I'm going to say LGMU, but I'm more inclined to think that it's not finishing. But I'm going to say LGMU.
You can't predict an abandonment.
I can't predict.
No, you don't get extra points for if it gets abandoned. I think
you should.
If it gets abandoned and Raptors win because LGMU have got it abandoned, I'm having a point.
Fine.
I'll do my best for you, Jamie.
Right, well, I'm going to disappoint you and I'm going to go with the Raptors. Because I have
I'll
to.
let you off.
Warwick versus Leicester.
Warwick.
Warwick.
Yeah, not surprised. There, Hallam versus NTU.
NTU.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd love to make it spicy, but I just can't do it.
I'm going to say Hallam just because I've had some right fun day outs against them.
It'll be an interesting one. Like, again, they're sort of the last speed bump for NTU. So, could happen, but again, 28-0 to Warwick says that it's not. In the other Sport Tank live stream game, Bournemouth will be taking on Southampton.
Bournemouth.
Yep.
Bournemouth.
Yep, thought so. Bath Killer Bees versus Exeter.
Exeter.
I know.
Exeter. I'm sticking with my boys.
It's interesting because I forget who said it, but they're like, that game could be spicy, but I'm like, I don't know. I think Exeter are going to take that div. I'd be very, very surprised. I'm fairly certain that if there's a game that's going to be picked for our man on Instagram, Glenn, who almost picked his third upset in a row, I think he'll probably pick that one. Reading versus Hertfordshire.
Reading.
Yeah, Reading.
Yeah. Don't worry, SJ. I'll let you sit in silence. UEA versus QMBL.
UEA.
UEA.
Yeah. Nice, interesting picks this week. Kent versus S. Yeah, let's write down Kent for everyone, I think.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, just going to write down Kent for everyone. Mavericks versus Knights. Edinburgh versus Edinburgh.
Mavericks.
Yeah.
I'm going Napier. Pete led cooking.
Worrell, what are you thinking?
Oh, I said Mavericks. Mavericks for me.
Mavericks. Okay, we're going to move on to Division 2, get this all done nice and quickly, despite the fact that there's bloody loads of games. In the battle for the best team in Wales, Swansea versus Aberystwyth.
Swansea.
I'm going Taranai.
No, I've Aberystwyth.
Interesting. I think I'm going to have to back Swansea here. Sorry, Aberystwyth, but Bath Spa versus Plymouth, 5-minute quarters. What are we thinking?
Plymouth 1-0 walkover.
Yeah. I'll
Yeah.
back that one.
Yeah, that's fine. I'll go with that as well.
Yeah, sounds about right. Brighton versus Oxford Brooks.
Brighton.
No, I'm gonna go Oxford Brooks. I got a mate at Oxford Brooks, so go for the Panthers.
Awful pick.
Thank fuck I don't pick on that basis. I'd be fucked every week.
Awful pick. Sussex versus Chichester. Christ. Write down Sussex for everyone.
Or have you got a mate at Chichester?
No.
Surrey versus Solent. You have to pick this one, I think.
Oh, that's. I'm gonna go Solent. Yeah.
I'll go Surrey.
I'll go Surrey.
Okay, then we've got Canterbury versus UCL. I'll write down UCL for everyone.
Oh no! Repeat. Actually, no, don't, because then I have to deal with it the next day. That was the.
I won't. Okay, I'll cross that one out.
That's what they started scrapping, wasn't it? That one?
Oh Christ! Yeah. Worcester versus Bullets 2s.
Bullets 2s, but I'm really disappointed in them last time.
Bullets 2s. They're going to play JGN just for bants.
Worrell, I imagine you're not picking Worcester.
No, Bullet 2s, yeah.
U2s. Edge Hill versus Staffordshire. Quite an interesting game.
Edge Hill.
I'm going Edge Hill.
Yeah, I'll have Edge Hill. Decent bunch of lads, Edge.
Church. Staffs. Banger versus UClan. What's the point? Let's not bother. Bradford versus York St John. Bradford.
Bradford. In fact, no. I'm going YSJ because they've shocked a couple of people so far this season, and I think they might do it again.
No, they fucking haven't. No, they haven't. They've shocked no one.
Are you sure?
Who have they shocked? Themselves.
Neville.
They haven't shocked anyone. No one.
I'm going YSJ.
You're a fucking idiot.
What division are they in, is it?
Lastly,
Have they won a game yet?
York St John have won a game,
Yeah,
but they beat Sunderland. They beat fucking Sunderland.
yeah, and
That's who they shocked.
yeah, and they gave it absolute big licks in the comments about one guy. So
Oh.
I'm pinning my hopes on this one guy.
Oh, to be fair, GTS is Glenn. Glenn is here. Glenn, do you want to give me a pick? I'll even give you a nice little gold outline on your name if you want it. You haven't got long because we've only got one game left, and that is Nottingham Green versus the Lincoln Colonials.
Nottingham
Green.
Colonials.
You're all dickheads, you know that. I want to pick Lincoln. Yeah, there you go. So that is week 7 in the book. GTS is going to wait till I put the graphic out. Good. I don't want to read these all out again. You're a fucking idiot. York St John, it surprised no one. They won a game last year.
They want to
But
get
that's
this
it.
year.
Yeah, but they're not going to beat Bradford. They're not. They're just not, all right? Fuck's sake.
What you're doing now, what you are doing now is you are manifesting something to the point that you are going to get to oblivion, and you're making you are giving Uniball memes content.
Oh, I think that whoever runs it has got better time than me. Coming to the honour of fucking York St John.
I don't think he does. I'm assuming that it's a he, but I don't think he does.
Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that was.
He created a Hull Sharks appreciation post. No one right in their right mind is doing that.
No, not even Hull Sharks.
Yeah.
You got a lot of time on your hands, don't you, Jamie? Is it you?
Yeah, well, the rumour is out there.
So, ladies and gentlemen, that was week 6. We will see you for the rundown next week. But on Sunday, we will be live streaming 2 games. It will be Steve and Mike, and I imagine Kwame will be in Bournemouth for Bournemouth versus Southampton, whilst I will be in Cardiff streaming the Cardiff Cobras versus the Birmingham Lions for Implosion 2. Not 1, but 2. Oldest man in Uniball, I imagine, plays for the Mustangs. York St John and Bangor getting relegated to their own division, forced to play each other for a full year is the best punishment. Send them down to the punishment division where you just play each other 8 times, and I would live stream them all. Okay, just putting that out there if it's going to happen. So, ladies and gentlemen, join us here next week. Don't know the time because time's changed because when people are free. But do join us on Sunday for Bournemouth versus Southampton, and join me for Cardiff versus Birmingham. Get 2 screens. Just put them both up. But keep my audio on so you can hear my dulcet tones. And that's what matters. I really hope it's not cold and windy in Cardiff, but it definitely will be. So, ladies and gentlemen, we will see you here next week. Goodbye. If you're playing, good luck. All that good stuff. Be in good health. Bye.